Welcome to another F5 podcast, sponsored by Operation Code, the national organization. I have here a person that I've been bugging forever. And when I came up with the idea, of F5, he was supposed to be guest number 2. But it didn't happen. And guest number 1 was supposed to be another person named Justin. Yeah. But you can't blame him. And his name is?
Jim McLaughlin.
All right, why don't you give people just a little bit of introduction?
Sure, yeah. I co-founded the Operation Code Kansas City chapter.
Stop bragging.
With Colin Phillips about 6 years ago, yeah. And at some point, we roped you into being a co-organizer.
Yes, you did. And I say that I was an early guy.
Yeah.
But I wasn't not one of the founders. But I'm early. Yeah.
You were on board with the mission early on in the Kansas City chapter. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know the story that I like to tell people about the first time when you were? So it was at a Java user group, and he. Hey, anybody have anything? And he raised his hand. I said, and somebody said, Jim, I don't know who. And Jim talks to us, and he says, he's like, I heard about this place and Operation Code, and it's really cool, and we'll tell you a little bit more about it next. I'm starting to meet up, and it's going to be on Thursdays at 3:00, and I hope you can make it. And I go, I hoped that I now hoped that that's great, but you're only going to be successful in veterans if you can meet veterans. And I think you're going to have trouble getting veterans. And so I was not a founder because I did not believe. And that's fine.
Yeah. I had no idea. I had no expectations.
Why'd you do it?
Yeah. So, a little bit about my background. I've graduated college in 1988 with a computer science degree, and have been in the industry ever since. And I got to the point where I was looking to kind of give back to a community, and how do I help mentor and provide, how do I lift other people up who want to get into software development, into tech jobs, into the industry?
Who invented mentoring where you're at?
At the position I had at the time?
No. At our what we put in the meetup.
I don't know.
It was me. No.
Oh,
it was not me. It was not me.
Was it Colin?
It was Colin.
Yeah, it was Colin.
I remembered it as me, but memory is not accurate.
Yeah, the whole idea was that I had at the time was I'd really like to start something up, and I was completely thinking of it as I guess I'll just have to do this all on my own.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about what's a community that I think that I'd feel like I'd like to give back to, and I really thought about veterans. My dad had served. My father-in-law was a Korean War veteran. My stepfather, also a veteran. So I knew a lot of grandfathers.
People.
Yeah. A lot of men in my family had served, and I didn't. I thought about joining right out of high school, but I was 17 when I graduated high school, so I knew that wasn't. I just didn't know what I wanted to do, and I ended up just deciding, I'll just go off to college. I'll figure it all out later. And so I've been working decades as a software developer and in software development.
You're old.
Yeah, I am.
What's the best part about being old? Because I can tell you, everybody I hear that's old like me, I'm old. I know I look 24, But I have gray hair. I don't know why. Anyway, a girl said I looked 24. I was like, aw. She was 24. And I was like, aw. Anyway, focusing on the podcast.
Old, yeah.
Okay, so how many people came the first time?
Oh man, it was like 2 or 3.
And who came?
So there was Colin and myself, and maybe 2 or 3 other folks, and there was I think all of them were veterans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Canadian is not.
You can't,
We don't got. You got a half point.
Yeah,
you get a half point for that.
Colin being a veteran was really a Canadian in the Canadian Army. So does that really count?
Not the army, and we don't.
Yeah.
You know, he's really cool. They know he's really cool if you watch it.
Yeah,
It's the last episode. If you don't, there's a link down there.
Yeah, so we started off really slow, and we just did not know what it was going to be. You know, we didn't have a vision for what it was. We just, so when I had the idea, hey, I'd like to give back to a community, it took me 5 minutes to find Operation Code online, and so it was like, yeah, there's an organization that's already got the foundation already built, so I didn't have to come up with that. So I contacted the national director. And say, hey, we don't have a Kansas City chapter, but I'd really like to get involved and be a mentor. And he said, congratulations, you're now in charge of the Kansas City chapter. So I realized, hey, I need to get somebody to help.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't have the bona fides, I hadn't served. And so
you walk into a VA little club, or what is it? The Rotary, not Rotary Club, like VA.
Of course, the veteran hall kind of things. Yeah.
Shriners, is that it?
No. It's.
We'll look it up.
Yeah.
And it'll be right around there, or there, whichever.
Yeah. So
Ben does.
Yeah. So I the first thing I did was just call Colin, who I'd known for over 20 plus years, and
Canadian.
Well, I don't hold that against him.
Oh, you don't. I do.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I said, hey, I want to kind of start this meetup. I am interested in giving back, and this is the community I want to give back to. And I know that you've done your time in the military, and would you be willing to? And he's super smart, so I figured, hey, win-win. Would you like to do this with me? And he said, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. So we started that up, and we had no idea what it was going to be. We just knew, okay, neither of us had been involved with starting meetups or groups like this before, and so we were just let's just do something and figure it out.
Bonus question:
yeah.
What are you involved in? You're also a co-organizer that I'm also in.
Yeah, so certainly, being in software development on a completely random thought thread here.
Yes.
I wanted, one of the other things I wanted to do is about a little bit before I started Operation Code.
Now remember, this is Kids Channel.
Yeah. No, I wasn't going on that thread. No, I also wanted to challenge myself, and so I wanted to actually see if I could apply and speak at a conference.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah. And so
he's not a very good speaker.
No. He is absolutely not a very good speaker. This was just for the merit badge. It's like I want to do this not because I want to do this as.
But the material was really good to talk about.
Yeah. So the company I worked at the time, Yellow Freight.
And why did you get fired?
I didn't get fired. They went bankrupt.
There are two. Sorry, let me interrupt you. There are two ways someone can get fired. You're fired or fired with cause.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the significance is
we all got laid off is what we got.
Is you can get fired, and you get severance if they're cool. You get nothing if they're not cool.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But you qualify for unemployment. Fired with cause, you don't if you say F you and you're fired, that's fired because you said fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, this is a kid's show.
Hey, this is
family friendly. Yeah.
Ben, this is symbols. Ben, I didn't say that. Or just beep it.
Yeah, just bleep it.
Yeah. So. So you were laid off, and I think you weren't laid off. I think you were fired because
it's potato. I mean,
potato. Yeah.
They were getting rid of everybody. But at the time, right? So at the time that the company was healthy or somewhat healthy. The tech stack that we used included Java and Spring, and so had
Angular
and Angular and Node.
And Angular. Did
it was Angular JS and Angular.
Yeah.
Right. So what has also been called Angular 1 and Angular 2+.
Okay.
Yep. So
OG Angular.
Yeah. The OG framework, right?
Framework.
So that was the tech stack at the time, and I had been going to the Java Spring meetup, who and a lot of the folks that were involved in that then eventually rebranded because the Kansas City Java users group had gone defunct, so they just kind of repackaged, rebranded as the Kansas City Java users group instead of just the Spring users group. And for those that are in the know, Java Spring is a very important and popular framework on the Java platform. And so I had decided, again, this is just kind of a parallel, but about the same time as starting an Operation Code Kansas City. I wanted to try to apply for and get accepted to do a presentation at the Kansas City Developer Conference, which is a fairly large Midwest conference.
There's people that listen to this podcast because it's kind of like mentor they are, and some people haven't even started, and some are veterans, some aren't, and for those veterans, what's your advice about if you could pick? I'm sorry Python, or I'm sorry JavaScript, or I'm sorry Java, or I'm sorry .NET. Which would you pick for them? If they can only starting out? Yeah, just starting out.
I would say JavaScript.
I would say the same.
Yeah, I would definitely say JavaScript.
I would say JavaScript is not a language.
Well, but it's a technology, right? It's right. So there's these days there are platforms that are important, right? Yeah. And so the ecosystem that is JavaScript it's very wide, and it has a lot of niche areas to it, but because the syntax of JavaScript is kind of the foundation for all of it, there's a huge ecosystem out there that you can that you can jump into if you understand the fundamentals of JavaScript, right? And so if you wanted to start out somewhere, start out with JavaScript. There's a lot of opportunity and options that you can go into. There's server-side JavaScript, and Node is a very popular server-side technology.
There's TypeScript.
There's
what is the difference? I know the difference.
Yeah. So
what's TypeScript and what's not, right, and what it mean? What does that mean? Yeah. And
so once you learn,
to someone who doesn't know anything about coding,
So once you kind of jump into understanding, hey, what's involved with programming, you're going to typically start learning with a language, and as Justin mentioned, you can start with something like Python. That's a common beginner language and platform that you can work with, and so you can just learn the basics of development with a language like JavaScript, with a language like Python. Some folks learn with Java or .NET, but typically languages and platforms like Python and JavaScript are good places to start. And so what you're learning is some essentials like how do I make decisions, and that we as a broad subject, those are called conditionals, right? You have to make a choice, and when you're learning, those are typically things like if statements. If this condition is true, then I want to do that. But if this condition is false, then I want to do something else, right? So conditionals. And so you learn a lot of those types of things. You learn conditionals. You learn things like, how do I repeat this operation over and over? You may need to do an operation over and over until a condition is met, right? And those types of those type of structures and things that you do in languages are called iterative statements. So while this condition is true, do this thing. Or maybe you just want to do this one thing 10 times, right? So you could use a for loop that says, starting at 1 for 10 times, do this thing, right? So there's different ways that you can learn how to apply conditionals, do iterative logic, and put together a series of operations, write a program to do something. And you're going to learn how to do that in either some of the beginner languages. And if you do that in JavaScript, that is a very fundamental way of learning how to do those programmatic things in the JavaScript language. Now there's other concepts when it comes to platforms and languages that you would learn, and when we talk about just, hey, I need to do these set of operations, and I just need to do them in this order. That's a very top-down procedural, just kind of do these things this way. There's other technology that help you compose solutions in different ways by using objects. And there's a paradigm called object-oriented language programming. And so object-oriented languages and technology it's a progression in how you learn how to use different technology. And so TypeScript is a way to enforce that object-oriented type approach to writing solutions, right?
I've been told that Java is kind of like Java.
Yeah. So there's elements to it.
Time out.
Yeah.
She's taking her PMP.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
Well, my class, I haven't signed up for the
test.
Yeah, you have to actually apply to take the test. It's
stupid.
A lot.
But do you have to pay for a test, or is that included in the $500?
You get I think a discount code, but yeah, you still have to pay for it. But if you try to take the test 3 times within a year and fail every time, you get all your money back.
So that would be good. But please don't do that.
Win-win, right?
Yeah, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah, but you have to show your degree and then list 36 months worth of projects that are non-consecutive that you've worked on with descriptions. So I actually had to send a LinkedIn message to our old product manager to be like, hey, could you just give me a 1-sentence description? And then you have to have the budget of that project.
Oh man.
Who knows the budget?
You. Well, I have a huge project.
What's
And
the budget?
You have to know the budget. I was only half listening to you. What is your issue with the budget? I'm confused.
I have to list it as part of the description of the project.
Oh, okay. But you don't know?
As a Scrum Master.
You know it, though. As a PMP Scrum Master, you would know what's your budget.
Okay, but I wasn't.
But, okay, just write down wasn't. I'm manic right now, and I not only manic, like sometimes I say I'm manic. I'm really fucking manic, and it's yesterday was not a good day for me.
I'm sorry.
And Jenny, so she's kind of
How you doing today?
better, I think.
Better.
We'll talk later. Okay.
TypeScript.
Two things. Look at the camera and then look at yourself.
Yeah.
Look at the camera.
Yeah.
Look at yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't tell.
All right.
I'm gonna look like. Do I look better like this or like this? When you're watching a video, which one do you expect?
I don't know.
I expect you to look at that camera. I
Oh,
would
okay.
think instead of looking at yourself. It's natural because you're so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at my T-shirt. Like, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Are you? What the hell were you? What were
So
talking
you were gonna tell me what your understanding of TypeScript was.
about? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that. We'll do that again, and then and you can say. Ready? Hey. I got a question.
Yeah.
About TypeScript. I've been told that my knowledge of JavaScript is great, but my knowledge of the Reacts or the Angular JS's or Angular,
Which use TypeScript. Yep.
which uses TypeScript, is zero. I was told that we were gonna go take Angular, and so I said, "Give me a course." And I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah.
And so they said we have a Pluralsight, and Pluralsight is not sponsored, and is not good for Java development. Instead, go to spring.io. Start.spring.io is a great way to start a project. Anyway, I'm a Java guy. Someone told me, or someone read somewhere, that TypeScript was like Java in the sense that it kind of like forces you down the route. Then you have with React, which is more popular. It's kind of like the Wild Wild West. So what the heck do I say, and where am I right? Where am I wrong?
Yeah. So JavaScript as kind of a beginning language or platform,
Which you recommended.
which I recommended, is not what we call a strictly typed language, where well, and part of that is because it's interpreted on the fly, like when you have an application that gets loaded up into a web browser. That's a JavaScript application to do all the fun reactive, visually responsive, and just all the animation and a lot of the cool things that happen on a web app. All that JavaScript code is being interpreted on the fly. More traditional back-end technologies, which is your Javas and your .NETs and a lot of that server-side, those server-side enterprise technologies are compiled, and so this is a little kind of inside baseball stuff, but basically compiled languages tend to be strongly typed, which means when you write instructions, you tell a variable what it's going to be. And again, if you're just learning, variables are part of the fundamental thing that you learn how to create. So you need somewhere in memory to hold a number or a character or a string or maybe an array of characters or an array of numbers. Numbers can, on strongly typed or strictly typed platforms, again, your Javas and your .NETs, there's a variety of things. You've got just regular integers. You have which take up a certain amount of memory. You've got even larger numbers, which take up even more. memory to store bigger numbers, obviously. But then you have also you've got some decimal type variables, right? So you got a variety of different things that we call variables, and that you can assign values to. And in JavaScript, it's really loosey goosey because it's interpreted, and these variables can change type on the fly, whereas in your strictly typed languages you can't. When you say, hey, this is a number, whenever you use that variable over and over again, it always has to be that integer number.
That's
So you've got this difference between the very strictly typed and the very loosely typed, like JavaScript. And what TypeScript does is it says, okay, the end result's going to be JavaScript that the browser is going to be using, but we have a pre-compiler sort of type of thing. It's also called a transpiler. Again, if you start going down the road of a TypeScript type language like Angular, you'll learn about the transpiler. And so you've got a strictly typed syntax that then compiles down into raw JavaScript.
All right.
Yeah.
I have another question for you.
Hit me. Hit me.
I'm a starting developer.
Yep.
I want to join Operation Code.
Yep.
How does one join Operation Code? Where not where do you go to sign up for Slack? Though that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
But where do I go? Where do we meet at?
Right. So if you're interested in and you want to find a local chapter, you
How can I find it?
Yeah. So going out to it's Eventbrite. You can
No.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah. Well, there's a variety of ways. There's a couple different ways you
there
can
is
find
a way
a
that
local
goes
chapter.
to Operation Code. If you go to operationcode.org, it has links. There's a section of chapters that have links that take you to the exact spot in Eventbrite, and I think that's cool to have those URLs because finding Kansas City, what's popular in Kansas City, I don't know, and then you're like, it's hard to find.
Yeah.
There's a stupid website.
Yeah. If you just search Operation Code Kansas City, hopefully you'll find where we're at.
Yes.
Right? And we in the Kansas City area, we typically meet every Saturday at the Lenexa Public Market. Once a month.
Okay. Yes.
Once a month we've begun to also meet at the Kansas City Collab.
Collab, yeah.
Collab Kansas City or Kansas City Collab.
Either one.
Yeah.
They're both correct, I think.
Yeah. Right. So that's downtown Kansas City area, and once you find our Kansas City Operation Code Kansas City Eventbrite calendar, you'll be able to know when we're at the Kansas City Collab or at the Lenexa Public Market. But we always meet on Saturday mornings, and the whole idea is just to have a variety of mentors that show up. Justin and myself, Colin, and a few of the other mentors, and a few of the other beginners that have gone through boot camps and training and have become professional developers who are now mentors will show up, and we just meet anyone who is just trying to figure it out. And our whole mission is to meet you wherever you're at in your journey and see how we can help. And see what advice we can give you in terms of the educational part of it, the career part of it, the technical part of it. If you're in the middle of a boot camp or some training program or college or whatever, and you're stuck on something that you don't understand, hopefully we can help you out and try to guide you through the difficulties that you're working through, or explain things that you're having trouble with. And so that's our whole main focus. I mentioned that we started off with only 2 or 3 that first couple of times,
And what's the largest we've had?
Oh shoot, probably close to, maybe not 30, but close to 30.
Why?
Just because
Of
word of mouth.
One man.
Well, yeah, Justin Cummins.
He's a legend.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I need someone to interview me because I think I should be on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think it should be either Jim.
Oh, I could do that.
It could be Justin.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look at the votes down below.
Oh, it's got to be Justin. Yeah, it's got to be Justin.
It's got to be Justin. That interview's Justin. It's on F5 podcast. If you donate lots of money to our little coffer, which we don't have a coffer.
We don't.
But our other one does.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But hey, where's that money? You owe me money. You owe me $400, man.
I'm still waiting for that.
You're still waiting for the check too?
Yeah.
Checks in the mail?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know that their whole thing and I'll decide whether we should cut this later.
Yeah.
It's not really Operation Code related, so I cut it out, but I may put it on a different channel. I have one myself.
I forgot all about it.
Yeah. But let's talk about it after we finish.
Sure. Yeah.
It'll be easier for him to cut.
Yeah.
All right.
So we've got someone who
Is an extrovert.
Is an extrovert who came
He's
from
fearless.
Yeah. Who came from a cold call sales background, who is very good and has a lot of energy in terms of getting the word out. And he's done an amazing job of being an advocate for Operation Code, being an advocate for Operation Code Kansas City, and just an advocate and an example of what anyone can do. Anyone. If they've got the desire to be in the technology space and is willing to put in the hard work. And let's
Chris Deo is a person like that.
Yeah, we've got examples. So we've got several folks in the Kansas City group that have come in with sometimes a little bit of technology background and sometimes with almost none, but have had the desire, was willing to put in the hard work, and you really have to put in the hard work yourself. You do have to learn, and what they've been able to do to go from almost zero to being a professional is a great testimony to what anyone can do, because
TikTok.
Yeah, I
veterans in TikTok to find is very easy. There's a lot of veterans on TikTok. I talked to one guy and he's like, I can't do it, man. I'm not a computer person, and I'm like, anybody can do it.
And anyone can do it.
But
yeah, you have to dedicate yourself.
Yes.
You have to put in the time.
And you have to have, I believe, and you might want to argue, which is why I have this podcast, right? Yeah. It's what makes it interesting. It's not just our faces. I don't know why. There is a little bit of genetics involved, and so if you run at it and say, hey, you say, I want the goal, like it's kind of like saying, I want to be the quarterback as good as the quarterback we have, not playing the way he is.
Yeah. So there are some fundamental levels that you're really going to have to, from an educational perspective, that you're going to have to be able to.
How would I know if Justin's right? How would I know if I'm a beginner and I've done nothing? Where would I go to? Obviously, first and foremost comes Operation Code, but we'll talk to you. We'll mention you where you're at. Register your trademark.
We'll meet you where you're at.
Yeah, we'll meet you where you're at. So anyway, what would you say to me if I haven't done, and I'm not, I got the drive, I want it, but the only reason I want it is for the money, and you don't think, I think that's not the right answer, but it is the great answer. And well, anyway, but what would you tell me, how do I know if I have the talent, quote unquote?
Yeah.
Or the groove.
In software development,
We're all code monkeys.
yeah. In software development, the talent and the skill is completely self-made. Right?
Yes, they are.
So there's no intuitive. You just start doing it and you're good at it. That just absolutely you have to start. Everyone starts at square one. Some people start at square one when they're in middle school.
Yeah.
Right. But they don't do anything with it until they're in their 20s.
Yeah. Or 30s.
Or 30s. And maybe
young people these days.
Yeah. But maybe you don't start at square one until you are in your 30s. But everyone starts at square one, right? So there is no innate, right? So there was this really bad movie. And so this, now I'm going to show my age because I'm in my...
You're gonna. So which one do you think it looks? I have more white. That's a little clue.
Yeah, but what am I? 15 years older than you?
I'm 44.
Yeah, so I'm 57.
Yes.
Right. So I'm 13 years older than you.
That's just why are you still working?
Because I love it.
You hear that?
Yeah.
He's a millionaire now. Just kidding.
Well. What do you think about that?
Just kidding. I was kidding, but I knew it was true. We can decide to cut this out.
Yeah. No,
but anyway,
so,
I love it.
So
the answer's really important.
Yeah. So we're talking about talent, right?
Yeah. 60 maybe. Okay, hey, Jim.
Yeah.
You seem very like, hey, Jim.
I'm just ready for your next question.
Well, I have a question, but I don't have a question for you. I know the answer.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell the answer. So the question that I have for you is, for me, is where do you go to, if you are a person who is very driven, and I'm talking about military people mostly.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the military and you like to join the Corps of Software Engineers, software engineers, and you're not sure, like, we didn't talk about it, but there's a lot of different kinds of roles, like some people are worried about that, but I'm not going to be a good coder, and some people aren't a good coder, and some people are. You know who's a good coder? Chris Dio. You know who's a kind of sucky coder? Justin. But
admittedly,
he will tell you. Yep. He will tell you.
That's not his thing.
It's not thing.
But he's got a great job. Has
a great job. Yeah.
Yep. Done great work in the tech space, utilizing his background and his skills.
Did you hear about the job?
Oh, he's got a new job now?
Well, anyway, yes.
Yeah, that's
maybe,
great.
Maybe.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I have a big thing I got to go to.
Yeah.
So anyway, how do I know? Do I have the talent? And I'll tell you the answer is Google
it. Where do I start? How do I begin?
You Google beginner coder and things, and they teach coding. Do you know they teach coding to like third graders?
Oh yeah.
So go, and there's tons of them out there, and they have like a little, like, there's one that has like a little, like not Isla, That's my Cusco reference. No, what Frozen? That movie.
Oh, I never saw it.
Yeah.
I never saw it. Yeah.
Okay.
I had boys. I didn't have girls.
I want you to put him down here how dumb he is, and I will pay the $30.
I will have to go. I can. I've got Disney Plus.
Oh, you have access to this Frozen. You don't have to watch the second one. Just watch the first one.
Okay.
Anyway.
Dude, just let it go.
I'm trying to, man. I'm trying. Okay. So, anyway, so the website, or the thing is, if you find someone with Elsa, I think it is Frozen, and you correct me if I'm wrong, which is probably right. They always say, I may act like I'm always right, but I'm not always right.
So that's like a beginner.
Yeah, it's a beginner
resource.
programmer. And it's really, really easy, but it has for loops and while loops and do while loops.
All the fundamentals.
All the fundamentals. And you play that, and if you can play that, I can get you a job at CRL. Opening P. If you want a job opening P, that's what
CRL stands for Clinical Reference Laboratories.
Yes.
So you work for a laboratory.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've luckily, I've come close, but I've luckily not had to open P.
Oh, okay.
But, man, I have.
You haven't had to work in the lab.
No. I've had to do lab work, but I just haven't had to do not like something that somebody certified does, but
yeah.
I have had to take tracks of pee that have been frozen in our freezer and lift it up and put it, say, here's this, and it moves, it sorts it, and takes some things out, and okay, this one, and I would have to take it and put it in the right place. And it wasn't because they really needed an extra person. It was just because I wanted to make sure the program worked.
Oh, right. Yeah. So you wanted to see your work in action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. It's.
Yeah. We're getting to it.
What's the date?
Today's the 28th.
Okay, that's an awesome. I like the 28th. Why? I'd like to work on the 28th. I'd like to work between the two.
Oh.
Why would I?
The Twixtmas.
Yes, the Twixtmas. Yeah. Why would I want to do it when everybody says, "Well, I took off vacation"? Why would Justin not? Is Justin working? No, unless you count this as work.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's very laid back and not a lot of high pressure and not a lot going on and low expectations.
And it really helps with imposter syndrome, because if you look that up, and I can send, I'm going to put a link on the bottom of this to everybody to look, and I'm going to put a link in the Slack. Yeah. Because that guy is really, really good. Yeah. Anyway, he was helpful for the imposter syndrome thing. Okay. Last question.
Yeah. Hit me.
How did I get started in not you, me?
Yeah.
How did I get started into podcasting? I have this little tiny red light that you see there, and the camera that got a little tiny.
You buy yourself a microphone.
And that's all I got there it cost me $300.
Right.
Oh, you know how much? What does Justin say? Remember the percentages? Do you remember the numbers?
Oh, yeah, 90-10?
It was 25, like 75 or something.
Okay,
like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I own 25%. I was like, oh, that's cool. This is the bill of
25% of the.
Yeah. If you want to, I was like, he's like, but I made up the idea. Okay, here's the check. No, I'm not. I don't have that kind of money. I'm like, okay, I own 100% of F5.
That's right.
Okay.
So how did you get involved into this?
That's a great question, but my answer is different than what I want to say. So ask me a different question, it was what how did you get into podcasting?
Oh, okay.
Actually, it has nothing to do with equipment.
Okay.
I'm just a little
Yeah.
Squirrel. Don't worry, Ben. I'll pay you for cut. For every cut. No, I won't pay you for every cut, but I'll pay you for every.
So how did you get into podcasting?
That's a really interesting question. I'm going to say that. I'm going to ask my question.
Okay, ask your question.
I like Joe Rogan, which I'm sure you've heard of. Kind of crazy, conspiracy guy.
He's an experience.
We should talk about that next time because I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan, because I'm a huge fan of UFC.
Yeah.
I think he's like honorable. But there's somebody and
I'm just amused by how often he can be wrong and feel so confident about it. It's entertaining.
It is entertaining, and some would say F5 includes Justin, so there's a high chance I might be wrong, and I'm like, dang it, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And next one,
it's okay.
I'm sorry.
Nobody's perfect.
Okay.
So what's your question?
The secret question is from Lex Friedman's podcast, which I found Lex Friedman through Operation Code.
Uh-huh.
Not Operation Code. That's wrong. I found Lex Friedman through Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is my guy. He's a programmer, and he's doing high-tech stuff,
mm-hmm.
and he's pretty nice, and he's Russian, I believe.
Okay.
His dream is to meet Vladimir Putin.
Interesting.
Interview and recent dream. I don't know if he was successful. Interview Netanyahu.
Oh wow.
I think he did interview, but I didn't listen to it because he's kind of like. Anyway, let's take politics out of it. Yeah.
So what was his?
Why am I talking about this? The reason I'm saying this is this. I love this question. I thought it was his shtick. His shtick was ask this question every guest, and then I listened to it, and he just asked this question. I guess he thinks our answer good. He doesn't always do it. I always do it, so much so that I forgot to ask this question last time, and now. Drumroll, please. What is the meaning of life?
What is the meaning of life?
42 is valid, or I don't know it's valid.
No. We're here,
mm-hmm.
and we're here because we have parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we get a lot of things from our environment and our upbringing, right? And so my mother,
mm-hmm.
My mother was very religious and had a very strong faith, which she gave to me. I'm not as traditional in my religion, but I still have a very very strong faith. And so a lot of where I think people get their what's the meaning of life has a lot to do with their upbringing and their parents. And so with my faith background, I definitely feel like either you have a purpose and you are working and living that purpose,
mm-hmm.
or you're just being very selfish, right? So you're if you don't have a purpose and if your only purpose is to satisfy yourself and just take care of your own needs and your own satisfaction, I feel like that is a missed opportunity. I see my purpose and the meaning of life is to be a success so that I can take care of my own family, but also have a purpose for helping others. And so, yeah, the meaning of life for me is to help others.
It is.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I, of course, will tell you you're wrong.
Yeah, sure. Hey, I'm living my purpose, so it's all good.
I think understanding the meaning of life is really important.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I asked the question. And I'm not everybody's wrong.
Yeah.
And everybody's right. Someone will tell you you're wrong, but I would tell you you're right.
I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That's maybe a better way to say it.
It's Schrodinger's cat, right? You might,
the next episode, we'll talk about physics,
quantum mechanics,
and what physics and what the great
superposition. It's all about superposition.
It is, and this is sponsored by Spacetime. And if you haven't watched Spacetime, it's a YouTube channel by PBS. And if you are, tell me I'm offended by PBS because whatever, I don't really care. It is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a great series on Einstein and really just like the basics.
Oh,
they
cool.
Have a playlist.
Cool.
I'll show you that. Next time we'll either have Jim or Justin interview me. And
maybe we should have a panel.
Yeah. All names that start with the word J. We have J cubed. So you can cut this. We're gonna stop it. My thing has, and maybe it's 4. Believe it or not. AJ cubed, and the TMP J4, is that what that says? Yeah, J4. There's at least 4 people named J, including Jeff, Justin, and my dead father, God rest his soul, Jerry. All right, I need to click stop because every time I upload this, he goes, it takes forever.